I love flowers. Flower selfie. The most popular flowers in the US are roses. The biggest flower is also the smelliest. The corpse flower smells like rotting flesh. Ugh. Tulips used to be so valuable, they were worth more than gold. Cha-ching! Flowers don't just look beautiful and smell usually delightful. They serve a very important purpose. Come with me to my garden. Let's begin there. My favorite flowers in the garden are my nasturtiums. They come in lots of beautiful colors and they bloom for a really long time. The season for my favorite flowers in the garden, the nasturtiums, has come and gone. And now you can see the plant is giving up a little bit. I had only one blossom to show you. A flower's job is to create seeds to make more plants. On the nasturtium, you can see that this flower has been pollinated and there are little seeds beginning to grow where the flower once was. These are the eggs of the flower, and the petals will fall away and these eggs will begin to grow and grow until they become seeds. My nasturtiums are very good seed producers. I have nasturtiums in my garden every year without even planting new seeds because they make new seeds for themselves. Next year's nasturtium on its way. Before producing seeds, every flower must be pollinated, and this requires two parts: a pistil, the female part of the flower, and the stamen, the male part of the flower. Sometimes they're very easy to see, like on this fuchsia. Let me show you. Even though flowers all look really different on the outside, they have all the same parts on the inside. Sort of like people. We all look different on the outside, but we have the same parts on the inside. So let's dissect some flowers and see how they're the same inside. When you dissect something, it means you take it apart into its smallest pieces so that you can examine them. Let's begin our dissection at the bottom of the flower. The flower is connected to the plant by a stem. At the base of the flower is the sepal. Usually sepals are green, but on the fuchsia, the sepals are actually bright pink, so they're easy to see. Above the sepal are the petals. So let's start there. Let's remove the sepal, and then we'll remove the petals. The petals of a flower serve a very important purpose. They are what attracts pollinators to that. Kind of like a big neon "Eat here" sign. After we remove the petals, we're left with the reproductive organs of the flower. First, we have the male part of the flower, the stamen, which is made up of two parts: the anther, which is this little piece on the end, and the filament, which is the piece that connects it to the flower. The anther is where the pollen comes from. If we continue to dissect the flower and remove the stamen, we're left with the pistil, which is the female part of the flower. The top of the pistil is called the stigma, and it's a little sticky. It's where the pollen is going to be deposited. Below the stigma is the style, and inside the style is the pollen tube. Pollen will travel down the style to the ovary, where the ovules or the eggs are. It will fertilize the eggs so that they can become seeds. All the parts of the flower are very easy to see on the fuchsia, but let's look at another flower. This is a petunia. And you see on the petunia, the sepals are green, and they're attached to the bottom of the flower at the top of the stem. The petals on this petunia are red, and if we take off the petals, just like we did with the petals on the fuchsia, you can see again the male and female parts of the flower. Here are the stamen with the anthers on top, with their little bit of pollen at the end. And here is the female part of the flower, the pistil, with the sticky stigma on top. Whoops, that one's pretty sticky indeed. Every flower you dissect, big or small, is going to have these same parts inside. Now it's your turn to dissect a flower. Let's go through the steps slowly together. First, let's examine the stem and the sepals of the flower. Take a really close look. Now we're going to carefully remove the petals of the flower so we can see what's inside. After you've removed the petals of the flower, you can see the reproductive organs inside, the male and female parts of the flower. Let's pick off the male parts of the stamen, which is made up of two parts, the anther, which is this little piece on the end, and the filament, which is the piece that connects it to the flower. The anther is where the pollen comes from. If we continue to dissect the flower and remove the stamen, we're left with the pistil, which is the female part of the flower. The top of the pistil is called the stigma, and it's a little sticky. It's where the pollen is going to be deposited. Did you know that some flowers are edible? Like nasturtiums. Good. And broccoli. That's right. Broccoli is a flower.